Hey, welcome to the Dankest Dungeon. In this video, I'm going to be making some statues for tabletop gaming or D&D or any kind of game like that. So I went to the thrift store and I picked up some figures that were $1 or $2 each. Not a lot. You can get a lot for a little at the thrift store, as you may know. One of them that I picked up is this Egyptian lady. I assume she's a queen of some sort, judging by her giant ass hat. And then I also got our good buddy Jesus. Can't have enough Jesus in your life. I'm going to add a bunch of stuff to these and just go where the creativity flows. All right, so let's get right into it. Right off the bat, looking at these two, obviously this Egyptian lady, she's kind of short. So we're going to try to give her some height here. I have this cap from a spray paint bottle and also the top from a cold brew coffee bottle. Stack those together and yeah, that's a pretty good height. They're a lot more even now. So I'm going to go ahead and scuff these up with some sandpaper before I apply some Gorilla Glue and just glue them all together. Okay, so I was at the dollar store the other day. Dollar store I usually don't go to, Dollar Tree. Not that I have anything against Dollar Tree, it's just further away from me than the other dollar stores. But they had these action figures, Final Faction. I feel like I hit the jackpot here. These were all $1.25 each, the new price at Dollar Tree, and they are so awesome. There's such a variety of them. They are dirt cheap. We got this little demon guy and his accessories. We're not going to be using him this way for this, obviously, but just so cool. Also got this little bug guy with some missiles that shoot out of his back, literally. Look at him go. We're going to go ahead and cut off the parts we don't need and just do some general disassembly. And once we get them all ripped apart, we're going to go ahead and start placing them onto the figures. I think this staff blade thing looks pretty good in Jesus' hands here. And he definitely needs some Cthulhu-esque tentacle spike things coming out of his mouth. And a headdress, why not? Always remember to sand your surfaces so the glue actually sticks to something. I'm gonna go ahead and put this like breastplate upgrade thing onto her chest and this fancy thing on her hat. Gluing these down on the back so it's a little more sturdy, they're not just flailing around. Have these other upgrades for the demon too. I'm gonna go ahead and stick one on top of her head. And let's do the other one down here on the cap. Do some more on the side, one on the left, one on the right, and yeah, we're getting there. The female statue looks a little incomplete right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and get some foam board out and do like some columns to kind of bring it all together. Just gonna take out the hot glue gun and start going crazy with it. Now that the columns are all attached, I'm going to take my X-Acto blade here and just start roughing it up, adding some texture, rounding off some of the edges, making some cracks. You know how stone looks after thousands of years. That's what we're going for here. Adding a few more pieces to separate the top from the bottom, and I am loving it. Done with that step, we're going to move on to the next step, green stuff. So I'm not very good with green stuff. I keep trying to get good with it, but I'm just not. But that's not going to stop me. So we're going to go ahead and get some water, get our fingers nice and wet, and turn this yellow and blue stuff into a ball of green stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do here is cover up the symbol on Jesus' chest. We don't really need a sacred heart or whatever that symbol is. It doesn't really go with our theme. So I'm just trying to make something that looks kind of like cloth to cover it up with. We also have these big gaps between the chest piece and the other figure. So I'm going to fill those in. I'm going to add some tentacles connecting the front of her headpiece to the top of her headpiece. That's kind of cool. I like how those are turning out. And of course, Jesus needs some tentacles too. He's standing on top of the earth, so that's another kind of weird flavor thing that doesn't really go here. So I'm going to use some tentacles here coming out from underneath his robe to kind of try to cover up the continents, break it up, make it not so obvious that he's standing on planet Earth. This is definitely going to be some kind of alien god and not a human god. And green stuff is all done. Now we're going to go ahead and whip out some black paint, and I'm also going to mix some glue into this, and I'm going to use this to cover up the pieces of foam on the female statue, because I do want to spray prime this, but I don't want the aerosol primer to melt any of the foam. So I'm going to use this as a pre-prime primer on the foam. Just slop it on, and once it's dry, we'll be good to go. So here they are, and hey, you know what time it is?
It's prime time!
Oh yeah, it's all coming together. So now, of course, it is time to paint. I'm going to start off with a dry brush here to kind of bring out the details and see what I'm working with. You can really be super messy with this. It's an easy, fun technique. I love dry brushing. Just have a light gray on my brush here, very little of it, and just slapping it all over. Moving on to the next statue, making sure those robe folds all stand out. Okay, so now what do? Let's go ahead and apply some washes and see how those go. Gonna look for the right paint here. I kind of had the idea of maybe doing like a yellow highlight coming from above, and then once I have the yellows on, I'm gonna come from underneath and do some blue lowlights. Oh, also, when I was dry brushing, it became very apparent that this blade says made in China right on top of it. So let's take care of that. Just cut it off and then cover it in some black. And back to the washes. I'm really liking the contrast between the blues and yellows here. Really makes the stone look a lot more vibrant, but without making it look cartoony. Just has a lot more life in it. I'm going to continue to build up these shadows and highlights until I'm happy with them. Or, I'm never happy with anything I paint, but until I am happy enough with them. I'm really happy with how the colors are turning out, but now I'm gonna take like a mid-range yellow, blue, gray and use it to blend everything together with one last dry brush. And we are done. Here they are. Do a little runway walk. Oh yeah. Looking good. I am really happy with how these statues came out. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you'll give it a try to just pick up some random statues at the thrift store and turn them into really cool terrain. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.